You wouldn't build a house without a foundation, so why try to build a business without one? Grow your contracting business and grow your mind with Growth Mindset Monday.
All right, we are back. Welcome back to Mindset Monday, brought to you in collaboration with Contractor Plus. We're really excited for you guys to join us again here in, well, look at that, towards the end of July already. Now, if you haven't done this already, you should probably realize we are halfway through the year. In fact, a little bit more than halfway through the year. That's right, 2024 is rolling. Now, I'm not going to get into the circus that is politics right now, but I will tell you this. You can easily get distracted from what needs to happen right now by either turning on the TV, the radio station, some type of social media platform, pulling up a bag of popcorn and just scrolling. I mean, it is bananas. But that's not why you're here, right? You are here because you want to learn how to grow your contracting business. Now, first things first, as always, if you're watching with us live, go ahead and drop your name, your business name, where you're from, so we can make sure that we shout you out, get you a little street cred, if you will. Let's be real. You want people to know who you are. Here's a perfect opportunity. As you guys are dropping that in the chat, I'm going to share a little story with you. This week was, this last week was kind of a fun one for me. I spent 2 days in Arizona meeting with some clients down there, working on their quarterly plans, if you will. And yes, I'm going to drop a little knowledge on that. Here you go. Here's our little quarterly workshop for contractors workbook that we work through with every single one of our clients. So I was down there for that. And then I spent some time in Albuquerque, New Mexico. If you don't have to go there, I wouldn't recommend going there. It's an interesting place, and I'll leave it at that. But my parents live down there. They were moving this weekend, so we went down to go visit them. So in the span of 3 days, I spent 3 nights in 3 different states in 3 different beds. And let me tell you, that'll wear on you a little bit. But here we are. And I didn't include the early morning Zoom calls that we had with Justin, but that's a story for a different day. Let's see. We've got Terrence Chandler Massillon. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Ohio. Welcome to the show. Michael Babbitt, BMF Services, Charlevoix, Michigan. Damn, man. I'm going to have to get my education up to start to pronounce some of these names. We've got Creative Remodeling and Plus from Hotlanta, Georgia. Welcome to the show. Ryan Milstead, H-Town, Houston, Texas, representing. William Bill Burton, Arkansas Power, Dry Mold Detective. There we go. Little Rock, Arkansas. Welcome. David Yates, Hope Builders, LLC, Auburn, Maine. Welcome to the show. Javier Plumbing, Easy Flow Drain and Sewer Services, Goleta, California. Man, they're just rolling in today. I love this. Daniel Kappan, Noble Custom Glass and Mirror, Buford, Georgia. Welcome all of you to the show. Appreciate you guys being here. Make time to share this Monday with us. Now, back to my conversation, my travels. I'll give you a couple little stories, and we're going to turn it right back on its head and right back to you guys. If you've ever been to Albuquerque, New Mexico, you know that it is dry, like sandy dry. And how they build houses on there, I don't know. Well, actually, I do know. But it's very difficult, right? Because it's dry. And not only is it dry, they get some pretty crazy rainstorms, especially during monsoon season, which right now happens to be monsoon season. And if you drive through Albuquerque, New Mexico, we were actually to the north of a town called Rio Rancho. If you drive through the cities, what you notice is there's these massive causeways or spillways. There's these massive empty canals, most of them built with concrete. And you're like, it is drier than balls here. Why do they have these canals here? They're empty. And then, like Saturday night, a massive rainstorm rolls through, and those things fill up like to the brim. And you see these, thousands and hundreds of thousands of gallons of water flowing through them. And it all makes sense, right? And I was talking to my dad. He's lived there for about 14 years. I was talking to my dad about this, and we were marveling, if you will, at some of the feats of man. Right. And it got me thinking about the purpose of these causeways, right? The purpose of these causeways is super simple. These drainage ditches, canals, whatever you want to call them. The purpose is to gather the runoff and send it in one particular direction. Like that's the job. And if you go outside of town where they don't have these, what do you notice? you notice that the water is eroded, either the roadway, the side of the road, the bridge. You notice all of these erosion problems, and it's all caused by this water. Now, here's the crazy part. It's not that the water is there all the time, but it's that when it comes hard, right? Now, on the way back, we actually drove there, and we drove through Moab, Utah. And if you've ever been to Moab, Utah, it's very, very beautiful. It's amazing. They've got a couple different parks you can drive through, all kinds of off-road activities, whether on your bike or a Jeep or a Razor. I mean, it's fun, right? But same thing as we're rolling through there, I noticed the same thing. The areas that had prepared for the heavy rains were able to withstand them when they came. And the ones that weren't, I mean, the roads washed out and all kinds of different things. Now, what does this have to do with you and your contracting business? Well, it has to do with it a couple different reasons, right? As you grow your business, you're going to experience these periodic, what we call floods, right? You're going to experience a periodic flood of, hey, I've got too many leads coming in and I can't handle these leads. You're going to experience this periodic flood of, man, I've got all these jobs to do and I don't have enough people to do these jobs. You're going to have periodic flood when it comes to, man, I've got all these people to hire and I don't know how I'm going to hire them, right? And these periodic floods. And what most contractors try and do is duct tape and super glue it. Right? They're like, yeah, put a little duct tape here, put a little super glue here, and maybe it'll hold it in place. And we all know that that doesn't work, at least not long term. So why is it that we keep going back to that? Right? Now, one of the things that we always talk about, and I'll keep hammering into you because it's my jam, right? It's a thing that we do here at the American Contractor Network, which is help you put people, processes, and systems in place so that you can profit from your business. That's it, right? But what does that mean? Right? Pretty words on a billboard? Sure. Could I put it on a shirt and send it over to you? Absolutely. But is that actually going to change your business? No. Is it going to change your life? No. So what does this have to do with you and your business? I want you to think about it this way. Okay. Everything that you do in your business is waiting for and anticipating for the influx of insert the blank, right? Let's start at the beginning. The first thing that we always want is a crazy amount of leads. We want leads, right? But what happens when you have too many leads? Well, if you don't have a process, if you don't have a system, if you don't have the people to handle the leads, it doesn't matter whether you have one or if you have 100. It doesn't matter because you're not going to be able to process them. Now, I'm not saying that right now you should be prepping for 100 leads to come in this week. That's not what you should be prepping for. But what I'm saying is you should be prepping for the one. What does your process look for the one? And how is it that we continue to do that for the one, and then the one, and then the one? We got John McMahon chiming in from McMahon Enterprises Carpentry. Welcome to the show. The One, the One, the One. There's a book by Gary Keller. And if you haven't read it, I highly recommend reading it. In fact, at our last contractor workshop, we handed out the book for free. You should come to our next one. We handed out this book. It's called The One Thing by Gary Keller. Now, Gary Keller started Keller Williams Realty. So you've probably heard of Keller Williams Realty, nationwide, one of the largest brokerages for real estate, right? Now, he wrote this book called The One Thing. And the purpose of the book is to help you digest the influx of things coming your way, right? The influx of fires and problems, the influx of personal life issues, the influx of employee issues or business issues or equipment issues. Insert the blank, and that's what it's all about, right? How do we digest all that? Well, you can only do one thing at a time, one thing. And so instead of trying to do everything, just focus on one thing. We're in this really cool age right now. It's 2024. We've got AI, we've got supercomputers, all these crazy things. And we're like, man, it's almost like on demand. I can ask ChatGPT something and it responds. Yes, it does. But here's a crazy fact. Did you know that a computer can only do one thing at a time? One thing. These massive computers that can compute hundreds of billions of data points and computations and spit things out can only do one thing at a time. Now, here's the crazy part. They do one thing at a time really, really, really fast, right? We are humans. We are not computers. And guess what? The whole chew gum and walk at the same time, that's right. You can only do one thing at a time yourself. So quit trying to do everything. Now, going back to the beginning of the conversation, by the way, we've got Darsal Mason. Welcome to the show. Appreciate you being here. going back to the beginning of our conversation, right? We're looking at this and we're saying, how is it that we take something that right now seems completely random and make it something that's consistent every single time, right? So let me ask you this, and go ahead and drop it in the chat. I'd love to hear from you. When somebody calls you and says, I would like to schedule an appointment, I would like an estimate, I would like to know more about your products and or services, what do you do? Okay. Do you, A, have a conversation with them, just like a regular person would? Hey, Mrs. Jones, thanks for calling. Yeah. So how about the weather? It's great. Yeah. Well, I'm at the gas station right now, grabbing another energy drink and glizzy, little hot dog action, right? What are you doing? Right. And you're just having a regular conversation, Mrs. Jones. Is that how you handle it? Number two, do you not handle it because you're too busy doing something else, and so you send them to voicemail? Or three, do you have a script that you walk everybody through? Regardless of what they call you for, regardless of what their timeline is, do you run them through the script? The script that helps you do a couple things, helps you qualify them, helps you make sure that you can actually help them, helps you figure out what it is that they're looking for. Which one of those do you currently do? Go ahead and drop that in the chat so we can have a little conversation around this. Now, I'll tell you that for most of my life, I was really good at juggling. At least I thought I was. Really good at like, oh, the phone call came in, let me handle the phone call. Oh, wait, the material isn't on site, let me handle material. Oh, wait, the truck doesn't have gas, let me handle that. Oh, wait, the bill's got to be paid, let me handle that. And just bouncing around all over the place, right? And I'll tell you, something magical happened when I started to put processes into place. All of a sudden, I had this free time. All of a sudden, I wasn't looking for where I put that piece of paper or that information from that one person that one time. It was all in one place. So think about this. If right now you don't have a script to handle the single person that calls, what makes you think that you'll be able to handle 50 or 100 calls? Let's compound it. Whatever your job is, whether you're doing landscaping, drywall, remodeling, roofing, painting, electrical, whatever. Let's say you go to the job site. Do you handle each job exactly the same? Do you walk it through? Do you write down everything that needs to get done? Do you then create or already have an existing or pre-existing checklist? Do you walk through that checklist and at the end, double check and make sure everything's been done right? Or do you just show up, tell your guys, hey, on this job, we're going to do some stuff over here and some stuff over there. And then you leave and you come back and you get pissed off at your guys because they didn't do the thing they were supposed to do the way you wanted them to do it. How do you do that? We got Victor with Rhino Builders. He says, script, pre-screen, if they're a good fit for us. Perfect. Perfect. Yes. Right? Now listen, I don't want to kick you in the balls if you're not doing this, but I want you to be aware of what's happening, right? Just like I was talking about those floods that happen in New Mexico or Moab, or really anywhere. The purpose that they have these causeways or these funnels, if you will, that they want the water to flow is not an if, it's a when. Whether there's one drop of water or a million drops of water, we want the water to go this way. And so we build these things to ensure that the water goes that way. Why? Because when we don't, there's erosion. The water goes wherever the water wants to go. So before you start thinking about 100 leads, start thinking about the one lead. Right? What's the one thing that I need to do right now in order to make sure that I consistently treat every single lead exactly the same? I have a client who's a remodeler, and he just signed on with a call center, right? He's paying for traffic online. He's then sending that traffic through a call center. The call center is filtering those leads, setting them up on an appointment for his salesman, and then they're going out and closing the deals. But I will tell you, for the longest time, it wasn't that way. For the longest time, he was dealing with the chaos of trying to answer the phone and then trying to get his salespeople to answer the phone and then trying to get the information the right way. And what he realized is that wasn't scalable. So he had to take a second. He had to take a second to slow down, and say, okay, what is the process that I want everybody to follow, including myself? And by sitting down and creating the process, I just got a text message from him on Saturday. Let me pull it up here because we all like real stuff, right? So here's the real stuff they say. So he said on Friday, my bad, not Saturday, it was Friday. He says, waiting for one more approval, but on pace to set the single week record of sales north of 210,000 for the week. How many of you guys would be happy with $210,000 in sales in a week? If you're not raising your hand, you're either doing north of that or you're lying to yourself, right? We all want to do 210,000, but I'm going to tell you, it's a process, and it's a process of putting the process in place. Now, when we talk about leads, I always go back to leads because that's where you guys like to have the conversation, and I'm cool with that. But it's the same thing with every single one of your businesses and every single aspect of your business. Real quick, John McMahon says, humor, I'll handle 50 calls if I ever get them. I generally give them my type of work I've done and do. Not enough clients to be overrun. And that's fine, John. But we want to make sure that we are setting it up to be scalable, right? Duplicatable is scalable. And we want to make sure we're asking them the same type of questions, qualifying them the exact same way, saying no if they don't qualify, because you don't want to find yourself super busy doing the work you don't want to do and not have the time to do the stuff you do, right? Now, that is for the leads coming in. What about outreach? I'll let you in on a little secret. Ready? It's the same thing. That's right. It's the same thing. A lot of you guys don't have the money to go pay for Facebook ads or pay-per-click or billboards or mailers or whatever. And that's okay. That doesn't mean that you can't build your business. You have to market, but you can't play the roller coaster game, right? The roller coaster game is you go out, you shake hands, you kiss babies, you market. Hey, I got a job. And then you spend all your time, energy, and attention fulfilling the job. So no marketing. And then you finish the job and now you're at the bottom of the roller coaster again. Oh, got to go back up. Go market, go market, go market. Hey, I got another job. And then back down, you're fulfilling the job. Get a job, fulfill a job. Get a job, fulfill a job. Hell no. Who the hell likes that? I mean, maybe you like roller coasters. My plane ride back from Phoenix to Salt Lake was a damn roller coaster, except instead of just up and down, it was going left and right too. Luckily, we only had one person throw up on the plane. Let me tell you, you don't want to smell barf on a plane in a big metal tube. Like, there ain't nowhere for that smell to go. It was bad. The lady next to me was about passing out. She was hyperventilating, right? So, but that's the point, right? Like, that's how we treat our business. Up, down, left, right, up, down, woohoo. And then we wonder why we want to throw it all away and quit and go get a job. Well, you're the one that created the damn roller coaster. We got a couple comments come in, so I want to share those before we move on here. We got Daniel that says we have a quote-unquote script or way we do it, but we need to get all our processes documented so we can bring in a salesperson and they have our way of doing a takeoff. Documenting processes is our next step. Beautiful, Daniel, and you're dead on. You are dead on. Michael says, I don't use a script, but I cover the same basic information as we talk about their particular project. Michael, congratulations that you cover the quote unquote same basic information. I like it. But you just heard Daniel talk about it, right? What's duplicatable is scalable. You should have an intake form. Ask them, hey, name, phone number, email address. By the way, if you're not asking for email, you should, because you should have some kind of sequence to follow up with the people long-term who may not be ready to buy right away. Conversation for a different day. What type of work do you want to do? What's your budget? What's your timeline? Right? And we start to ask these questions that qualify them. Because if we don't qualify them, we're wasting our time. And trust me, I get it. When you don't have a lot of leads, it feels good to be on the phone with somebody for a long time. It feels good to go out and give an estimate, even though you're probably pretty sure it's not a job you're going to be able to do. Feels good, right? But that's not what we want. So let's back it up, right? Let's back it up and let's talk about marketing, right? Oh, by the way, if you can see my screen or not, Contractor Plus is building those follow-up sequences in their upcoming marketing automation platform. Drop a little secret there for you. It's a beautiful thing. So let's go back to it, right? Marketing itself. What can you do to market? There's paid traffic, and then there's what I call organic traffic. You get it. You got it when you talked about paid, pay-per-click, Facebook, Google, billboards, mailers, magazines, home shows. That's all paid traffic, right? You're paying money to get in front of people. What about organic? What does that mean? Well, that is more time than it is money, right? So what can you do to build your business? Again, who is it that you want to work with? Is the first question you got to answer. Who is it I want to work with? I want to work with homeowners. I want to work with builders. I want to work with remodelers. I want to work with the government, right? Whoever it is you want to work with. Then you got to figure out how to get in front of them, which if you don't have a lot of money is going to require your legwork. It's going to require your time. And I can tell you this because I've seen it done over and over and over again. Get in front of people who have already built your audience for you. You want to work with homeowners, go find the really active realtors or brokers. They already have all the people who have either recently purchased a home or possibly thinking about selling a home. And if you want to get in that home because you have a product or a service that can help them, that's a perfect way to do it. You want to work with builders? Guess what? You can either stop by a job site, you can stop by their office, or you can join a trade group or association that's already put them together for you, right? Figure out a way to get in front of the people you want to work with. Now, I will tell you that a lot of contractors, and don't take this the wrong way, I'm a contractor too, so I can take it. A lot of contractors suck when it comes to communication. They suck at it, right? Hey, that's going to be $2,342 to get that their pipe replaced. And they're like, wait, I just met you. Yep, I know, but that's about what it's going to cost. I don't know if I'm ready. All right, well, call me when you're ready. Right? It's just a very direct and matter-of-fact conversation. But you got to remember, okay, the only way you get better at this thing is you have those reps. Now, I had a client for a long time in Boise, Idaho. He was a plumber by trade. When he first came to work with us, he was doing about $30,000 a month. And that's not bad. That was actually pretty good for a lot of folks. But he didn't want to be at 30. He wanted to be at more than 30. And so we sat down and we built out the game plan. The game plan was real simple. He wanted to do more remodeling and work with builders. And so we made a list of 175 different builders and remodelers in his area. That's it, 175. And he went to work. And then this was the work. Go shake hands and kiss babies. Go stop by the office, get to know people, drop off cookies, donuts, coffee, some t-shirts, have a conversation with whoever you need to have a conversation with. Get on that job, have them give you a chance, have them give you a shot. And it took some time. It probably took 5 or 6 months before some consistency started happening. But I'm going to tell you that he was freaked out when he first started. Why? Because here's his background. Before he was a plumber, he was a chicken farmer. Yes, with his uncle, raising chickens. That's what he did. And so he went from having conversations with chickens every day. Okay, maybe he didn't, but maybe he did. Having conversations with chickens every day to building a plumbing business. Now, of course, in between there, he started working as an apprentice and worked for a large plumbing company before he went out on his own, right? So that's where he was at. And so he wasn't super comfortable having conversations with a lot of people. And I said, just be you. He's like, what does that mean? I said, talk about being a chicken farmer. It's a unique thing. And sure enough, him being who he was and talking about his background and what was important to him, his family and whatnot, got him some opportunities to where within those 6 months, he took his monthly recurring revenue, right? The money that he was bringing in, he took it up to over $100,000 a month. And as of a couple of months ago, I think he was about $250 a month, right? Now, do you want to have a $250,000 a month business? Cool. It's going to take you following a process, as we talked about at the beginning, that process that will lead you where it is that you want to go. I'll be honest with you. When I started this call, I was going to talk to you guys about hiring. I was going to talk to you guys about team building. I was going to talk to you about how to build a team that is better than you. That's what I wanted to talk about. And yet here we are talking about lead generation. And we're doing that because I want you guys to start at the beginning. I want you guys to be successful. But success starts from the foundation, just like building a house. I don't care how pretty your framing is. I don't care how pretty your fixtures are. If you don't build on a solid foundation, what's going to happen to the house? You guessed it. It's just going to come crumbling down eventually. We don't want that. So we got to build that solid foundation. And the solid foundation of every contracting business is doing the fundamentals and doing them the same every single time. Every single time. So my challenge to you is, if right now you don't have a consistent way of generating leads, find a consistent way of generating leads. and do it consistently. Not, oh yeah, I don't have any more jobs, I should go market. Oh, I've got some jobs, I'm not going to market anymore. Carve out time every single week to market. And your marketing is the same. Who do I want to connect with? Where are they? How am I going to connect with them? Every single week. Okay, you got some leads coming in. All right, how do I have the same conversation with them that filters them through to make sure that I'm only talking to, only estimating, only having conversations with people who have the money to afford my product or service? Okay, now I'm doing the work. How do I make sure I do the work the same every single time? And then guess what? Rinse and repeat. That's it. I don't want to make it more complicated because it doesn't have to be. I'll wrap it up with this. The other day, I was having a conversation with a gentleman who owns a garage door company. He does about $35 million a year. Yes, that's 35 million with an M. 35 million a year. We had breakfast at this little joint, and he looked at me and said, I'm kind of bored. And I was like, bro, you're generating 35 million a year. What do you mean you're kind of bored? He said, I'm kind of bored. He said, because I kind of got kicked out of my business. Now, initially I was like, you got kicked out of your business? Well, that sucks. What'd you do? Right? You always think something wrong happened. He goes, no, it wasn't anything bad. I just hired people as I was growing to replace myself in that current position until I replaced myself as the CEO. And he goes, I get a check every 2 weeks. I don't ever go to the office. I was like, well, what do you do? He's like, well, I'm kind of bored right now. I built a house for a couple of years, but now I'm done with that. He said, but I'll tell you, there's nothing sweeter than when that check rolls in. Nothing sweeter. Now, is that going to happen overnight for you? No. And truth be told, it probably won't happen for most of you. But for those of you who are willing to do the fundamentals over and over and over again, there is success waiting for you. When we were talking about how he got started, guess what? He got started like every other contractor. Answering the calls, doing the work, paying the bills, fixing the trucks, doing everything himself. And then he slowly created a process, found somebody to replace himself. Next position, created a process, found somebody to replace himself until he worked himself literally out of his business. All right. We are at the end of our conversation, but for some of you, this is the most exciting part. If you're still here, drop your name, business name, and location if you haven't already to win a $50 Lowe's gift card. That's right. Brought to you by Contractor Plus. So if you haven't dropped your name, I'm going to give you about a minute to drop your name, your business name, and location into the chat. And we are going to have a drawing here in a minute. Now, a couple things about Contractor Plus. If you're not fully using Contractor Plus right now, figure out why. I'll tell you. The program itself has everything you need to run your business, but why aren't you? Start at the beginning, right? If you're looking for a place to keep track of all your leads, Contractor Plus. If you're already keeping your leads inside of there, you're finding a place to keep all your estimates, Contractor Plus, right? Like it's all inside of there for you. So don't be afraid to use the system. If you got questions, you can reach out and have a conversation with someone that can help you work through that. All right, we got one more, Juan Morales from Santa Fe, New Mexico. I was just down there. I think you missed that at the beginning. We got 2040 Plumbing LLC out of Illinois. We got Oscar Sanchez with Texas Top Tier Construction. Anybody else? Last call, Ryan Shemp with Divine Decking out of Bakersfield, California. All right. Justin is going to throw all these names into his magical hat. He calls a computer, and we're going to see who our winner is for this week.
No, we're not going to do it like that. The last time I tried that, it took like 10 minutes. So just pick a number between 1 and 30.
All right. I'm going to pick a number between 1 and 30. Let's go with 17.
17. Isn't that number you picked last week?
It is. All right. I'll pick a different name first. Can you tell us my favorite number? 17 is my favorite number. All right. Let's go with number 7.
All right. We've got Barry Pittman. We've got Mr. Primper. We've got Michael Babbitt, Creative Remodeling Plus LLC, Ryan Milstead, William Burton, David Yates, and Javier Castro. Javier Castro from Easy Flow Drain and Sewer Service in Goleta, California.
Javier Castro, congratulations. You are the winner chicken dinner, $50 Lowe's gift card. Easy Flow Drain and Sewer Services in Goleta, California. Congratulations.
Thanks for joining us, everyone, today. We'll see you next week.
All right, guys. Appreciate you guys being here. But remember, it's time to take everything that you learn and go apply it. I want you to feel good, but more than anything, I want you to do good. All right, you know what time it is. It's time to get after it. 3, 2, 1. Off you go. And that's a wrap on today's episode of Mindset Mondays. Thank you for joining us and being a part of this incredible journey to not just be great at what you do, but to live a great life too. Remember, every tool, tip, and story shared here is a step towards building your dream, both on and off the job site.